Springsteen on Broadway?
No big deal.
That mug, was that before you went backstage to hang with him or after?
All right, we both know that you have met the boss several times. And what? I've had no official meetings with the boss, although I very nearly, I wouldn't say killed the boss, but certainly caused him great damage. I'm in California.
Of course you are. Sorry, was I meant to say, wow.
I know. He's doing a couple of big stadium shows. I've gone to the first one. I've managed to get down near the front of the action, but I didn't realize he was going to do a stage dive. So the second night I go, you heard me, I think, well, I know where to stand now. I'm muscling old ladies out the way, lining myself up. I receive the boss, as you do. I'm holding him. But of course, what I'd forgotten is that I'm 6'7" and therefore about 1.5 feet taller than everybody else. So as I receive the boss, he starts to go upwards. So suddenly, the person behind me can't take him from me because they can't reach. And there's a moment in time in which I'm basically holding the boss himself, single-handedly. He's surprisingly heavy for a petite man. He's very dense with talent. Obviously, didn't want to drop him in front of 20,000 fans. So I just started to lower myself at the knees. Good sort of health and safety practice. Just lower at the knees until he's kind of back at a more level height. And then I can hand him on to the person behind me. I was genuinely nervous. I don't think he's probably any the wiser. But I, of course, have never met the man in person. I've never shaken his hand. I've never towered above him like you.
Steve, I've never towered above anybody. But now, so the video you sent me, that was on the other night, very much the recce.
That was the reconnaissance. I mean, when you think about it, it is quite stalkerish.
Yes.
I was filming him. I knew where he was going to be, at what time, the following evening.
But this raises an interesting question, because you and I, and I'll say it because you're too modest, we're successful guys. Life has gone well for us. We've met a lot of celebrated people. Who have you lost your shizzle? I've got to bring the younger crowd in. Who have you lost your shizzle for when you've met them?
I think deliberately gone out of my way to not encounter my real heroes, who are on the whole are more musical, I would say, than comedy.
You had Bowie on Extras, actually, saying things that you'd written. That must have been astonishing.
That was. I do remember trying to engage him. I'd been to see an exhibition in London of outsider art, which is art, painted by people in mental institutions. And I thought that sounds like the sort of esoteric thing that David Bowie would be into. So I mentioned that to him in passing. And he went, oh, yeah, no, that's great, that stuff. I bought a lot of that in the 70s when it first emerged. I thought, well, I've got nothing to contribute here. And so you kind of realize quite quickly with someone like that he was very polite and lovely, but there was nothing I could add to his life that was of value to him. Do you know what I mean? I think he'd experienced everything, he'd heard everything, he'd read everything. There was nothing I was going to bring to the party.